Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports back with the UFC 330 pay-per-view card. We have your MMA picks. We have your pick six. We have the sports betting for MAKHACHEV versus GARRY, one title fight. We don't just have one on this card. We've got two. We've got Mackenzie Dern and Jillian Robertson. And this slate is a little bit of everything. I don't know what you would describe the slate as, JSU. I'm Mike Brown, H3 Booter, and JSU, Jace Rube. Man, it's something. It's definitely, you got football back, but two title fights, that's going to steal some attention.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we all love football. Everyone loves football. Football's king, 100%. But when the UFC comes knocking for a big pay-per-view, 330, two title fights, and then you got the other, 10, fights or so. It works, Mike. It works. I'll be, very excited for some fight action here. And hopefully we can get back on top here. The pick six. I don't know about you, but it did not go my way last week. And I'm man enough to get up here and say it did not go my way. I did not have Quinlan in that main event. That was unfortunate, and my guy got rolled, but we bounce back here. We're going to bounce back here, hopefully with this card.
What do you think we should be leading with? Maybe that new prospect. I told you, right? We have Penis is our guy. We have Atiba is obviously a great prospect.
Michael Oliveira, bro.
Michael Oliveira is the new guy, is he not?
It's Damian Pinas and Michael Oliveira season for sure. And then you're throwing in
he has to be the Bilal Hassan flyweight. I might be gone. The 80-1 might be gone by now for futures is what we're talking about. But you just need one of them to hit, and you just need one of them to get to the title fight in November to really have that equity realized. But it is fun. Contender series. I didn't necessarily see your picks. I might have not scrolled.
My dogs smashed. So my dogs, there was a lot of dogs on this card there, but I don't know if you saw, so I posted one one two parlay, long shot. It was what's the guy's name? What's the guy who broke the dude's arm in the last 10 seconds and he didn't tap? So I had him by sub, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but it was the first fight.
Corpse Watch or something. Corpse Watch. Joe Corpse Watch.
Yeah, something like that. And I had him by sub, and I had the other guy by TKO who won in the third round, who was definitely the right side. Both were dogs.
Tom Pags.
Yeah. I love Tom Pags. Tom Pags, who trains with Corey and everything like that. And can't you just see Corey when you watch Tom Pags? Isn't it the freakiest thing ever?
Man.
He's long. They do some of the same shit. He clearly copies him a little bit. But I had those two guys. So yeah, and then I got lucky with the bad decision that went my way. So it's going to
be very interesting this year because you're going to have so many big favorites. You got to chop up the pie somehow, right? And I saw more tickets out there that are eventually going to make the sports book a ton of money. You know what those tickets are? It's taking those minus 5,000s and taking the 60-second prop. I'm not that greedy. I didn't even touch that. I went under 2.5 on those two, and to win inside the distance, obviously, in 2.5 minutes.
That's who it was.
Yeah,
Drop
shot.
shot.
Yeah,
drop shot. That was disgusting. Okay, first of all, just tap, bro. No one wants to see your arm go that way. No one wants to see it. And he gives a thumbs up, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this fucking guy over here. And did you see Dana's face? Dana was like,
Yeah.
You know,
No,
like,
he was like,
oh,
no,
come
thanks.
on, man. Just tap for us here. But
I think we're
yeah,
in a good state. The contender series is doing a good thing
the
now by
contender
building
series
cards,
is awesome. I mean,
turning people around. That's
yeah,
the big thing. The back in when they would sign these guys, like O'Malley didn't have a fight right away. Just remember, he took a bit of time to get booked, and then they really skyrocketed him because they saw the star talent. But it's like Bilal's already on in the
yep.
perfect card.
Yeah,
Shanghai.
but bro, now these guys know they know Dana loves this shit. Dana loves the quick turnaround. So now they're playing into it because they
Yep.
know Dana's gonna love that. Like them saying to Dana, like Dana, like I'm ready, like just book me, like, or I'm not leaving Vegas without the next fight. You know Dana loves that shit. He eats
Yep.
it up. Like that's his favorite. So he's calling Mick and you know, those guys, and he's like, find this dude a fight. Like, I love this. Like, this dude's a
Well,
beast.
did you see who Wint is fighting? They picked a bum, like a janitor off the street. It's the weirdest model when you look at it. UFC, I'm so passionate about it, just like you, that, you know, you get this Wint guy that is a monster. He's a little undersized, but he's so musculature that he can just bum rush you like a football player and tackle you that you're going to be out of there. But they got him against like a janitor in his first fight that they booked in the UFC. It just doesn't make sense that like that guy doesn't have to go through the contender series. He's just cannon fodder. You know what I mean? Like it's like we know what they're doing.
Yeah, but hey, listen, they want to fight in the UFC, and here's their chance. So
12
get to
it's
do it.
12,000. They don't even have to worry about 24,000 if you know what I mean. That win bonus probably not going to that side. But then you talk about that type of those types of fights where there's like newcomers. You've got a lot of tenured type of guys on this UFC 330 outside of the two title fights. Let's not even talk about those right now. But, you know, the first fight of the night, you've got Miktabek Oralbai, our guy, Hat. By the way, the dude that we were talking about, the prospect last week, another hat guy. He's got like the Brazilian army hat that he wears. So he's our new prospect, Barbosa.
Hassan?
No, Barbosa, the Brazilian guy that we got last week. My God, help. The prospect that we think is going to win the fucking title. I have a 700
you just said, oh my God, help. Like, who's going
Oh my God. Well,
right now?
because if I'm going to guess, it's going to be a Barbosa. Whatever. The guy you just said that is in our prospect pool.
Michael Oliveira?
Yes. Michael Oliveira is a hat guy. It's a couple
Okay.
hat guys on this slate. That's where my pivot was. Okay. But yes.
Get us to this first fighter. You'll keep talking about the Dana White Contender Series here for forever. Talk about this real quick.
Wow. No, I don't personally at the moment. Are y'all on Islam finish for parlay? Seems like a cheap throw, and Islam can grab Ian's legs. Well, absolutely, he can grab the legs. I think that JSU may talk about this as well, that they might get stuck on the cage for a bit of time. There's probably going to be a lot of stalling, I would say. So that's my big concern with the inside the distance, is that Ian can slow the pace of the fight down. Islam, as much as we love him for fantasy for those takedowns, if he's just holding him against the cage and not really dropping down for the double, that might be a big problem. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go that route. It might be a single by itself play. What do you think? It might be a standalone play, be inside the distance. I'm not parlaying either. You know, I'm not parlaying Islam either, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to parlay Islam either. Ian's just an annoying fight for everybody. Like, he really is just an annoying fight for everyone. And they said like, oh, we're going to push it this time. But Islam can fight annoying at times too. And I feel like it's like, okay, who's the first to budge? You know what I mean? I do think it's going to be Islam that maybe tries, because Gary's just always going to fight the same way. He's always going to fight the same way. He's going to slow it down. He's going to try and make you fight his fight. You know, he's going to be defending takedowns or trying to for a lot of this fight. But is it more just like the defense is so good that he can keep himself safe? I mean, to be fair, though, we have seen Islam finish some really good fighters. So, you know, can he finish Ian Garry? I do think it's in the realm of possibility. Am I going to bet him to finish Ian Garry, though? I don't know if I will. Obviously, if I did, it would be by sub.
Yeah, no, 100% on that. It's going to be a sub. Boynton making sure that we get the promo in Forever 25 before we get to that first fight. 25% off your lifetime package at Run Pure Sports. Tell us a little bit more before we jump right on into the first hat pick of the day.
Yeah, brand new site, just totally refreshed Run Pure Sports site. If you haven't checked it out, we added a bunch of these new hubs, which you see the MMA hub, the UFC hub for or on your screen or on my screen right now that you guys can check out if you're a member. But we have hubs for every sport. The new NFL hub, which is good to go for preseason. We have preseason action. Yesterday, the day before. It's ready to roll. We had 10K winner in Showdown a couple days ago. So preseason's fired up. If you guys want to check it out, if you haven't checked it out, you haven't been a member in a while, or you've never tried it out, use that code Forever 25% off for the life of your subscription, as long as you don't cancel. And you can use that for the Run Pure Sports site or the newly Run Pure Bet site powered by Gambly that we just added, which is friggin' awesome. So easy. If you want to tail any of us, we post a bet on there. It's so easy to tail. You can focus on, if you just want to tail JBC's premium bets, you can get those things alerts to your email, Discord, whatever you want. So it's awesome. Gambly did a great job. Shout out to them. And it just makes the product so much better and so much more easy to use and tail whoever you want, whether that's Big T, myself, Mike, if he posts a bet, Stevie Boynton, JBC, StatStational with his props. It just makes it easy for you guys to, click a couple times. It's right in your DraftKings sportsbook account, and you can bet what you want.
Yeah, we are definitely over here on my side of things, building out a nice little portfolio for those UFC futures. And when you talk about prospects, what is MACHADO or buy now? Is he going to be like a tenured UFC gatekeeper? Like, it's weird. Like, I don't even know what to call him anymore, but he is the biggest favorite on the slate at a minus 1050 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Mr. Wells, Jeremiah Wells, a plus 675. I mean, the go to fantasy last time, right? Like, it's hard to ignore what he was able to do. I know people that were like, oh, Curtis has some good takedown defense. It's going to be a spot for him to stop. And then that's one when you just turn the TV off by the, 8th takedown, and you're like, okay, well, this is over. I think it's interesting because Wells can come out hot in the first round. I think people are selling him a little short, but there's just levels, right? Like, this is maybe a little bit of American power wrestling versus that I'm going to blanket you type of wrestling from McDebeck. It's not necessarily the control time, which you say all the time on this podcast, is that sometimes when you're not getting control time for fantasy, you're getting the control of holding them and those mat returns. So I actually kind of look at it as the same type of fight to a certain extent. A little bit of power for Wells, which could be a little bit of a concern in the first, but pretty narrow window for Jeremiah Wells on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremiah Wells is an explosive. I'd put him as like an explosive athlete, right? But that explosiveness kind of dies down as the fight goes. So this is the problem with this fight. You're 100% right. Round one, is he going to pop back up and then get put back down and get pop back up? I think he will, but that's good for DFS scoring. We might get mat returns. You know what I mean? And does he have power in the first round and a half? 100%. Can always get caught. It's a fight, but Oral by just, I mean, how do you fade this guy? I mean, he's just relentless. His style is just so tough for a lot of these guys. And again, like, people were trying to do the Chris Curtis thing, and I made the point. I remember this breakdown because I made the point, like, that's good. He's a relentless wrestler. And then what did he go out and do? He went out and got 19 fucking takedowns and Marab the shit out of this guy. I mean, honestly, has Marab got 19 takedowns? What's Marab's highest takedown line? That's insane. I like 13 minutes of control time and 19 takedowns. He just held on to that dude, Chris Curtis, who does have good takedown defense, and kept putting him back down and popping back and putting him back down the whole fight pretty much. That's wild. So, I mean, for DFS, he can get, I don't think he's going to have 15 strikes in this. I think we'll have more in this one, but it doesn't matter with guys like him because they're just going to keep going with their style. So it's tough for me to fade Oral by. I think he's the clear. If we're looking at DFS 9K guys, where are you going to rank him? Because this is the conversation. You got him, Abdul Malik, Ribovics. Acho is not on this card anymore. Islam Makhachev at 9,200 with the 5 rounds. And then you've got Fernando, who we'll talk about in a sec. I think you got to rank him 1.
I do too. Because of the uncertainty around some of these other fighters. Ribovic, small window, 1 round probably to hit an optimal lineup, right? Or else it'd be multiple knockdowns. Abdul Malik, just in a vacuum, is going to probably do nothing until he does something. That's what he's done so far, unless he wants to go berserker mode. So another unknown. At least with Oral Buy, what is it, $100 extra to get from Abdul to Oral Buy? You're paying for that. I don't mind an extra 100. And with it being more of a tight card with 12 fights, it's so much. You're paying a premium for like these wrestlers that can get these bigger scores on this slate. I mean, you're going to have some bangers that are going to rely on those knockouts, of course, like you said, that we're going to talk about in a few. If I told you, who do you think is older in this fight? Who do you think is older? I didn't even realize it. The guy that looks like a Neanderthal.
Jeremiah Wells is older.
Jeremiah Wells is nearly 40.
Yeah.
And it's like a 10-year. To me, when I see that 10 years, I immediately look at that younger guy. Like, they have to be putting them in a good spot. So definitely a spot where he could get cooked. I'm looking at maybe the 2nd or 3rd round type of props. I'm not forcing this fight for bets. I just think that there's a pretty finite amount of outcomes, right? Like, you don't like the minus whatever it is, 7.5, I'm sure it is. You don't like taking those props. That's one where he could get a 10-8 round on any round, though. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, if I'm forcing something, I'm not going to force anything, though, in that particular fight. We move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Neil Magny versus Ramiz Brahimaj. We have Brahimaj holding steady as the favorite here on DraftKings, a minus 150 there, and a plus 120 for Neil Magny. A Neil Magny fight. When has a Neil Magny fight not produced? I mean, it's either he's springing the upset or he's getting dominated. And this is a great, great fight. I hope people understand how much of a binary-esque type of fight it is, because Neil could definitely use his length here. When Ramiz came into the UFC, I was really high on him. Like, when I say high, like, I would have been betting him for futures type of situation, because he had the ground game coming into the UFC, and then he was working his way into the power striking, which is a great mold to have. Obviously he's had some setbacks. The Court McGee setback, not a great look. But, I mean, of course, you get thrashed by Themba out of the UFC already, so it's not great. But he certainly has the tools to win this fight pretty easy, does he not, JSU? I mean, just get to those hips, get the takedowns, control. Probably go and sell out for the finish, because this is a Neil Magny fight. He will be live in the 3rd round.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those fights where it's like, okay, Ramiz early, probably 1st round, maybe early 2nd round. But, like, if this lengthens, it is definitely a Neil Magny fight. I'm going to pick Ramiz because I do think he's got the ability to get him out of there early. Obviously, we've seen Neil Magny, he has gotten subbed a good amount in his career. And I think that's Ramiz, clear path. He does have power too. But he is just, he's very elite with the grappling and stuff like that. But if this gets into that 3rd round, man, like, Neil Magny is going to be live. He's always, until you get him out of there, he's always like staying in the fight. So, I don't think it's crazy to bet like a 3rd round Neil Magny finish. I don't know what the odds are or something like that, but I don't think it's crazy. But Ramiz is tough. Like, Ramiz is, he's a tough dude. So,
hey, best price out there is DraftKings Sportsbook. You know me. I've got my fight odds up at all times. I love this site because what I can do is I can just move my finger. I see what the best price is. DraftKings Sportsbook 16-1. That will be gone by lock, I promise you. People for Magny third round, and it covers knockout or submission. Other sports books out there it's down to at least 8-1. You might want to get on that now as a sprinkle. I actually might do that as well, 16-1.
Yeah.
Because Magny's live for and the thing is, the path is so clear for Ramiz to stall out some time here in the beginning if he's getting offensively going. So it's actually a wild price there. I mean, I wonder what the second round is. I mean, it would probably be a deep second round, right? Like it's 10-1 on
Probably.
DraftKings. So yeah, I mean, I saw somebody in chat. Our chat's going wild. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button while you're here in chat, and we're keeping this thing moving and grooving here. But somebody in chat a few minutes ago was saying as simple as Magny third decision or Ramiz first round. It really does seem like it's clean cut for that.
It feels that way too. Yeah, Mike says the same thing. If it gets to the third round, Magny probably finishes them. Yeah, because Ramiz, I will say too, Ramiz does throw a lot. Like he'll throw heavy early. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna try. He'll try to get this dude out. I think. Early. He'll try to, but whether it works or not, we'll see. But he's definitely going to go out there and try, in my opinion. So that gives Neil Magny the chance live. So what do you do for DFS when we got that 8,200, 8K?
I was just going to ask you, because my problem on this slate is a typical Mike situation. I think the favorites win out. I think the chalk is good here. So it's frustrating because a lot of these favorites are going to be the higher owned guy. Like Ramiz is going to be 33% in the field. A third of the field is just going to click on him. Magny being 12%, you'd be silly to not match the field on that number, because the $200 to get up to Ramiz, right? They're both right there at the middle, is actually more so you're buying into the win equity and you're buying into that upside, right? You have legit upside taking Magny. I am picking Ramiz just like yourself for fantasy. I think it's higher scoring ability for Ramiz, but on such a tight slate with 12 fights, Magny is immediately in play because almost any of his wins is going to be huge. And obviously we'll be talking about the Charles Johnson misprice, which doesn't do a hell of a lot for your lineups on this slate. And I'll talk about that in a minute. People think it's going to do a lot, right? You think you see 6,900, you can do a lot. No, you can't comfortably just click him. You're probably going to have to click two buttons with him to make it, make some sense in your lineup. So definitely on the same page there. Me sub early might get a look for me if I can get a good price, and why not burn some money on that 16-1 on Magny third round DraftKings.
What's Ramiz by sub just in
general?
Yeah.
I'm seeing on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 140 for him.
Plus 140.
And it's been bet down from plus 170 opener on DraftKings itself. So
kind of makes sense.
And you know what's funny is it's always when he's dry. When Magny's dry, he's a little bit easier to get those long limbs and control. If I'm doing an exact thing, head and arm choke. I don't know what that site, MGM has those exactas.
Yep.
Head and arm choke is there all day. Get that thing in, move the hips off to the side, put your weight down, and Magny says, I tap.
And this is a fair coffee breakfast. This is fair. Brownie Maz hasn't really beat anyone worth a damn. Magny, better fight schedule, straight 100%. I mean, Magny, they use as the gatekeeper. So they're giving Magny like all these, guys that are coming up. I think Ramiz kind of fits that mold where he, like Mike said, like I thought he could be really good. Like he still could be really good. There's clear improvements he's made between some of those losses too that you brought up, like the Femba stuff. Like there's clear improvements he's made since some of those losses. So like there is a world where he is better, but I agree. That's why I'm saying like I don't think it's like an easy like, oh, Ramiz just rolls. I think the line makes sense. I think the fact that this fight 8,200 8K makes a lot of sense. Now maybe Coffee, maybe your thing is like, no, Magny's just better. He should be the slight, fave and stuff. I think people are just going to the guy with a little less tread on the tire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the big thing. We're seeing so many of these types of molds where you've got a younger guy by 5+ years. Let's even conservatively say 5, because I could say conservatively 8, right? Like 8-year gaps.
Neil Magny looks like he's aged like 10 years. Like he looks so old now to me when I see him fight. It's just like amazing.
I know I want to go on a tangent, but we won't.
Are
My first
we
play, go ahead.
Andrew
Yes,
said, are we doing a pick six for absolutely at the end?
absolutely. At the end, yeah. Make sure you
Yep.
get the like on the YouTube video. Put us on the background, and then when you see that pick 6, come on back. It's okay. We like the views. My first play on the
Magny
slate.
plus 3.5. Hold on, I want to hit this. Steve says Magny plus 3.5 is in play. The problem with the plus 3.5 in this is I think like Ramiz is very live to finish. So like early. So that is scary. But if you see this fight as a Magny or goes to the cards, then yeah.
If
I
you're
just
playing
don't see it
spreads,
that
that's
way.
the only way. There's no way you play a Ramiz minus whatever 3.5. You can't,
No.
right? Like that's
No, yeah,
that
I
if
would
you're
play
dicing it
Magny
out.
plus 3.5 over Ramiz minus. I'm just saying, like, is it in play? Like, is that in play for you? Would you bet that?
No, because I was just about to say, for like, if you're building, how some people build their plays as the card goes on. Like I would
Mhm.
probably actually use a McBekdick minus 3.5 with Ramiz together. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because then you can honestly, I don't think you need to do this, but that would be my play. And then the Magny's going to be plus 200, 250 after the first round. Like there's no world where Magny closes after the first round higher than lower than like plus 200. Like he's going to be a big dog after losing that first round, I think. So I think there's an opportunity where you can buy back if you see things going wrong. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those situations where there's multiple ways to go. But yeah, I like Ramiz just like you. I just don't want to
Yeah.
touch a plus 3.5 on this particular
If
fight.
Magny's like a big dog going in that second round,
Yeah.
and he gets like I'll definitely that's definitely when I'll bet
See,
Magny.
I have to give you ideas to play with,
Yeah.
because you
No,
didn't even,
you're on it there. I love
it's
it.
like Bang, he's going to be a big dog. And if he hits 3-1, man, I'll be loading up on that price tag. We move on to the all Brazilian affair in Philadelphia. Don't understand why this happens here on the pay-per-view card, but we have Rafael Tobias versus Lucas Fernando. Lucas coming in as a big favorite here on a pretty chalky guy for fantasy. Geez, minus 290 for him. Fernando come back on Tobias, a plus 235. I'm going to hand this one off to you because I feel like it's just it's Tobias. That's the whole commodity here, right? Like it's what is going to show up out of him.
Yeah, a couple things before we get to this. Chokamolden says, I never hedge in my DFS lineup. Should I be doing this? I'm team never hedge, but damn, it's nice to lock in a profit. I think Mike, I can tell you his answer. He's definitely team hedge, 1,000%. And honestly, I am kind of too. What I like to do, I'll throw this out there. It's not necessary like if you do have like a live DFS lineup and you're getting to like that last fight, it does kind of make sense to maybe throw a hedge in there. I know JBC, there's been times where like the main event will happen, and like if the last fight goes his way, he's gonna win in DFS, and so he'll maybe hedge it by betting the other side. So he comes out with some type of that makes sense to me because you're like final fight of the night. You don't need 1,000 things to happen, right, Mike?
No.
You just need one thing or the other thing, and you're gonna win something. And that's what I like to do in like my parlays. Honestly, I'll have my main early bet. So like my favorite early bet, you guys will notice when I post parlays, but there'll be an early bet that's consistently in my 3 parlays that I post, right? I have that, and then I have my favorite late bet. So by the time that if that early bet hits and I get through that leg, then I'll have the second leg that's different in most of the parlays. And then the third one will be kind of similar again, like the first one. If I get to that point, that's when I hedge. Like that third bet, I'll definitely hedge. So that's how I like to like build out my parlays personally. Is like I have the first bet is very similar. Like Juliana Miller by sub was in a lot of my parlays. It was like one of the first fights of the night. And then unfortunately, Mateusz Gamrot was in my last leg of the parlays there. But it is what it is. Like it's set up that way for like all of them.
No, 100%. It's very tricky for fantasy. You have to have a good keen eye for where you stand. Downloading the CSVs right after that co-main event gets scored might be a way for you to kind of keep an eyeball out behind any, what's behind you. It's funny, even to this day, I have no complaints about DraftKings. I think they're the best in the world. But the lobby thing is still one of those things, right? When you click into a lobby, you're trying to scroll below, and it's still not crystal clear as to, oh shit, there's somebody that stacked the main event. Because God forbid the main event goes, a zillion significant strikes and they're both optimal somehow, and some idiot stacked it.
Yeah.
Sneezing coming.
We gotta where's Big Hedge 44 for this question? I don't know. The only show he'll never pop up on is an MMA show. So he's scarred.
The biggest hedge there is.
He definitely is he's a hedge guy too. He agrees with. He's definitely if it gets down to that last thing and he's got a lot of money on one side, he might hedge it, whether it's like pick six or I'm sorry, betting or whatever. So 100%.
Yeah, see, he's just gonna save face.
There he is. Never pop up on an MMA show, your mama. Well, okay, that's fair. I guess. Anyways,
but you weren't gonna put some money behind the bipolar fighter who literally goes by bipolar Rafael Tobias. I seriously think it's like all him. Meaning it's IQ. Does he go? Does he not go? Does he fight smart? Does he not fight smart? And why are we buying into Fernando at this price tag? It's a little crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So when I watch these two fighters fight, I get the Fernando takedown defense. I really like his stand-up though. I think he does a really good job of like mixing his targets up well. He does a good job of going to the body. He throws a nice jab in there. It's nice and straight. He hits the low kick really well. He put that, I think it was the last fight, the guy down just with a low kick, just like one low kick, put him down, finished him with ground and pound. Another fight, he threw really nice early, like to the body, put a guy down. That's the stuff. I love seeing that type of stuff where it's not just, all just the same thing. He's mixing up the target levels. He's throwing low. He's throwing to the midsection. You do love to see that type of striking. I think his striking is pretty good. The way he's going to lose this fight, though, is if Tobias can get in tight and get him to the ground. That's definitely Tobias's main path. Tobias does, he will throw at times, but I think his way is to go to the mat, because if this stays on the feet, Fernando is going to win. Like, he's definitely the better guy on the feet. So I understand why the line is what it is. My take for first of all, I think Fernando is going to win this fight. I think he's just too much on the feet. And also Tobias, when he got Nurgazayev or whatever his name is on the ground, he made like 3 different mistakes. Like, he had him in full mount. This is a guy, Mike, who's been having grappling issues his entire MMA career, right? He had him on the ground and he mounted this dude and then got just completely reversed over to a guy who has terrible grappling, just with like a few little mistakes. I remember Rogan and I think it was DC on the call, and they were just like, what is he doing? Like, what is he? All he had to do was like move his head over to the side and lynch up the choke, and he has the choke, and instead he's not doing it. It was the craziest thing to me. So I do think he does. His offensive grappling is probably better than what it showed, but that's terrifying to me when I'm looking at like finishes and stuff like that. So yeah, I lean Fernando, but my take here for DFS is I think this fight finishes. I think it scores really well. So I do think I see a path where both guys can win. Both guys can put up a decent score. I like this fight. I'm going to jam. This is one of those fights that I think I'm going to jam I'm going to have more Fernando, but I'm definitely going to have some Tobias because he has takedown upside as a dog. That's always nice.
It's kind of wild. Minus 105 inside the distance for Fernando, and he's just off of the range of those big upper echelon 9K fighters. I figured he would be a hell of a lot more owned on this slate. I mean, off of the 9,600 oral buys and stuff. I think that's just because there's so many good plays that he's going to come in about 25% owned. I think he becomes a stronger play when he's lower owned than a bunch of these other guys. Don't you? I know you and I just said earlier, we like Earl by probably number one by a mile. But at that ownership lower, I mean, that's definitely more of a play for me. And Tobias, like you said, jamming this fight, I don't hate it. If you're going to jam any fight, it's probably going to be this one. And I'll talk about another one in a few that I think also.
What do you think of like the double finishing parlays where you get like one guy by knockout and one guy by sub or decision? Do you ever bet those? Like on draft?
No, I know you love those though, because I mean, remember the big parlay you had, the 100 to 1?
Yeah. Where I had the one guy by I had the dog by KO and the
it covers the violence parlay, right? Like if you think a fight's going to end, and you don't want to buy in.
If you see one path for one guy and the other guy having the other path, it like works perfectly. And I could kind of see that in this fight where it's like, I don't think Fernando's going to finish Tobias by sub. I think if he wins, it's by knockout. And I think the same thing. I think if Tobias wins, it's by sub. He fixes those little grappling mistakes he made, which they were like little, but they made a huge difference in him not getting the finish. Because we saw at the end of the fight, he had that what's it called? The leg stretch. They were saying it on the broadcast. Do you remember that?
I forget the Solubian
stretch or whatever. Or Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was like all over. He was, oh my God, he's got him in the stretch or whatever. He needed like 5 more seconds, and that dude was tapping.
But Fernando has a massive fucking melon, which means you can get it right around that thing and just start fucking torquing on it. We have spent 40 minutes through 3 fights, just to throw that out there.
That's because you started out and you were talking about the Dana White Contender Series for like here it is.
Yes, I was saying Solyatev.
I don't think you're saying it right, but appreciate you. 1-1-2-2. Appreciate that
shit. You talk about a binary fight.
Wales as well. What's going on, brother? Good to see you,
dude. Binary fight. It screams Darce choke from one side or knockout on the other, and that's Tresean Gore versus Vicente Luque. We have on this fight a Vicente Luque underdog. Money's been coming in on him, but minus 112 for Tresean Gore at this stage, minus 108 for Vicente Luque. I thought Luque was done a few fights ago. Like, I thought he was not necessarily checked out, but like, health-wise on the way out, like just not all with it. And, now he's doing his patented Anaconda choke as an underdog. Remember that against plus 220 underdog against Gastelum. I thought we all thought Gastelum short, stout, can stop takedowns. Nope. It hits the mat. He could just box him up if he wanted to. Nope. He gets the Darce choke in that fight. IQ test. I mean, Tresean Gore is not a world beater, but when you set back a prospect last time as a big underdog, almost 5-1 underdog, you're going to get an opportunity, right? Like the UFC likes to buy into these things. It's a great level fight. It's a huge step up for Mr. Gore as well. But does he come out with that aggression again and try to cook Mr. Luque? I love Luque. I think he still packs power too. So I think the first round could be very, very interesting. I worry drastically what the hell this thing looks like down the stretch. I think there could be a lot of distance striking unless Gore just says, all right, I'm selling out for a finish or get finished. So how are you looking at this one? Because I do really like this one. I like another fight in this range a little bit better if you kind of know what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. First of all, I told you guys MAKHACHEV sucks. I literally said that. Tried to tell you guys before the UFC fight. He's not good. But yeah, Trayshawn Gore was good in that fight. He obviously found the finish. And he's got that, like, he just always finds his way into those like submission attempts. He always finds his way back to those things. But he did look good last time out. And I do think this is a tough task because Vicente does have good grappling. He obviously still has some power. If you watch his last fight, clearly still has some power and finish ability. So this is a tough one. I want to say that you probably just bet this fight not to go to the distance because I think you could see a finish from a lean perspective. I'm leaning Vicente Luque, but I'm not like super confident in it is what I'll say. It's not one of my more confident bets.
Is patented Darce, or is he gonna find the back?
I think he's got. I think first of all, I think Trayshawn's gonna be tough to. He's gonna have to like go for like a Darce or something like that. Like I think he's gonna be tough to. He's gonna have to get like one of those chokes. But he's explosive, dude. Trayshawn Gore is very explosive. Like, so he's gonna be a tough guy. I think he's gonna have to hurt him on the feet to get to those positions.
Agree.
But who knows? I mean, I think this is a tougher fight to kind of peg, and it says it in the line.
I was just going to say, you go from a plus 450, plus 500 underdog to a minus 115 against Luque, who is somehow younger than me, 35, 34 in 8 months.
Damn.
And it feels like he's like 39. He feels like he's one of these older guys long in the tooth.
Coffee says Gore by KO, Luque by sub. What is that?
That covers a lot.
That does cover a lot.
I'm pretty sure Luque had some like brain issues.
Plus 120, by the way, for that bet. If you want to do the KO.
Well, we were just talking about it a second ago with the Fernando and Tobias, right? When you think it's the fight doesn't go to decision, which is in that Tobias fight minus 200 range. In this fight, same thing, minus like 200 basically. Getting that plus money for the outcomes is a little bit better than parlaying each of those by finish. It can be.
What costly. Is Trayshawn by KO? Because I do
straight up on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Plus 330.
It's a good price, honestly.
Yeah, I see it open 350 and it's just a little bit down to 330. So yeah, no, I like that as well.
Sign you up for Gore by TKO in round 2 or 3.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be sloppy and unpredictably sloppy second and third round. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's any clear cut, Luque could kickbox. Luque actually has some very slick kickboxing, but the pace of that means it's not good for fantasy. So I'm going to be a little bit under, I think, on this fight, and it's because I have to be on one of these mid-range fights.
I think you're going to need a finish for this fight to be anything in DFS, for sure. If this fight goes to the cards, I think it sucks. And I think we're all booing and it's boring. So hopefully it's not that way. But this is kind of my take too, is I don't think Gore is that good. That's another reason why I was like, I think I'm going to pick Vicente, but Gore just like always finds a way, I feel like. So maybe I'm just wrong in my take that Gore is not good, but also he's not fighting like, in my opinion, like top tier guys, except for, Tulio was pretty good, but we've seen him get set back. And some of these earlier fights, Cody Brundage, like he was
on pace to be the Juliana Miller, like 4-4. That's where I'm headed.
Hey, we love Juliana Miller on this show.
I know, but like he was on pace to be that 4-4, and they kept him around for enhancement talent, and he would have been like 4-5 in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like he was on pace for that. Then he's got a guy that death gasses in front of him. You know what I mean? There you go.
I don't agree with this. Both guys aren't good. This is why it's a tough pick. Vicente, like the guys he's losing to, Joel Alvarez, Kevin Holland, Buckley, Neal, Muhammad, Thompson, those are not shit fighters. Those are good very good fighters that he's losing to. That's not Cody Brundage. You know what I mean? Like, that's not even Tulio, Mike, in my opinion. Like, Vicente Luque is definitely good. He's getting up there. He's got a lot of fights, right? He's got 36 fights. He's getting up there. Coffee keeps saying he's quit. We have seen that. It's like, there's all these little things, but I don't think Vicente is bad. I think there's just some holes you can poke in now that he's kind of long in the tooth, or he's getting up there with the fights.
Just expect the pace of this one to be ass after 7.5 minutes. Let's just put it that way. So I agree with you.
You hate this fight for DFS.
I do. I wish there was more ownership on it. Honestly, it's just because of the fact that you have to select one of these fights. We talked about Ramiz. That's binary fight. This one is not binary. There's a lot of slop down the stretch, and then I'll tell you how much I love Jalen Turner and Fernandez a little bit later. But we move on to one that is in that upper 8K range. We have Dante Johnson versus Eric McConaughey. We have Dante Johnson coming in as a favorite here, minus 325 on DraftKings Sportsbook. McConaughey is a plus 260 underdog. If you're dog hunting, you're probably looking your chops on this fight because McConaughey fights for your money. Not the best fighter in the world. I think you're buying into Johnson slowing down the deeper the fight goes, so he just needs to hang in there. And I can see pass from McConaughey. I did say in the beginning of this slate that I think a lot of the favorites win. I think Johnson probably does win and wins early within the 7.5 minutes like he always does. But when this thing gets stretched out, I think McConaughey's win equity goes through the roof. I truly do. Tough click, though, right? Like, it's a tough click to be selecting McConaughey. And Johnson's a really good play for fantasy because of his ability to just get that go for the takedown. The pace of fight is always there. He's always in your face. It's not reflective of the scoring. So I was kind of hoping nobody would go here, but of course people go here because there's inside the distance equity.
Yeah, I just don't know how people can watch Dante Johnson's last couple fights and be like, that guy's really good. Like, that guy. Let me tell you right now, Dante Johnson is really good. I watched him go 3 rounds in a decision with Cody Brundage, and then I watched him fight Dricus Dumas was first, but that was ridiculous. That was a terrible fight. And then you watch the Brundage fight. How the hell can we come away with that and say this dude is amazing? We can say this dude is power. We can say this dude is an athlete. He's a freak, but I don't know if he's that good. Like, to be honest, to be fair, we've only seen him fight a couple times, but like, it hasn't been that great. So now we get to Eric McConaughey, who we know if he's going to win this fight, it's going to be probably a decision, right, Mike? It's going to be kind of the way he beat some of his other opponents. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be actually really boring. Dante's going to go in there trying to take his head off, right? And he can kind of withstand that early pressure, which he has done. To be fair to Eric McConaughey, he's fought Ruzaboyev, who he did get knocked out by, Susarkayev. These were, guys that were big favorites, and he lasted with those guys. He even hurt Susarkayev, who everyone loved. So can he last with Dante Johnson? Can he last around to get me to where I'm not pissed if I, am lower on Dante Johnson? I think it's in the realm of, it's definitely up there in the realm of possibility. So I'm probably going to be lower on Dante than the field, and it's terrifying because he does have that big type of power that can just put your lights out with one shot. I'm just going to trust that McConaughey can hang in there for a round and a half, and do what he's done in every single fight pretty much, which is kind of like slow it down, not throw anything out there, try and, stop some, stay safe. That's my take on this fight is, Dante, he might win, but I just don't know if he's going to win quick enough to where I'm going to be regretting it. So I'll lean that way for DFS and be low on this fight. Everyone loves Dante though, which I totally understand. The inside distance number, all that stuff. I don't know if do you see good fighter?
I kind of cut in there earlier to say he's still very green, but he's really working into the job, right? Like I don't think this is his first choice in life. I really don't. I think he just knew that
Eric McConnell. No.
That was gold. I saw that earlier. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Chat's got some great questions up and down, but let me just give my quick X's and O's. Yes, I agree with you. He's green. He's still working in the UFC, but his aggression wins out. And against this type of style matchup, look at you always point to these types of fights. It's not like you're fighting Dante Johnson off. Okay. Now listen to what I'm saying, because what McConaughey loses to is Ruzaboev, Cersei Akaniev. You know what I mean? These guys are the Russian molds. If you remember, you and I were sniffing McConaughey against Cersei Akaniev.
I wasn't sniffing him. I bet him. I bet him. I lost, but I felt okay with the bet. You know, he gave a little bit in that fight. Cersei Akayiev's gonna learn he's gonna learn. He's definitely gonna figure something out real fast, because the way he fights, it's gonna be fun. But
the Jordan Santos, all the overs on those strikes was a great play.
This is the question, though, you have to ask yourself for DFS. Does McConaughey carry enough upside at 7,400 when there's seemingly so much more higher upside dog value around him? We talk about this, I feel like, every card. And great question. We talk about this every card. I feel like there are those dogs that are just way better bets if you want a long shot than a DFS play. And this is that fight. Like, I think if you're going to do anything with McConaughey, he's probably a better bet than a DFS play. I think for DFS, he's probably going to score like shit even in a decision win, because I don't think he's going to finish Dante. So if I don't think he's going to finish him, you know, it's probably going to be just like a striking match. I don't think McConaughey is going to be taking Dante Johnson down or anything like that. So it's probably just going to be some striking, a lot of movement, you know, not high volume, lower pace. And that's kind of his way. And remember, Dante throws big, but if he's like missing, he puts a lot into every strike. So it's not going to be like crazy volume, right, Mike?
No, the pace of this down the stretch, just like the other one we just said, the last fight, this one is even going to be slower. McConaughey more tactical, and by tactical, I just mean it's not, you know, super high combos or anything.
This is
I agree with all sentiments.
Turner is an underdog now.
No, let me get my words out on this one before I go fucking nuts here, because this fight comes down to if Dante Johnson is more like the Brundage and Vieira mold, which is that first round. Remember Vieira coming in, he'd sub everybody in the first round. Brundage comes out like a bat out of hell in the first round. McConaughey has won both of those fights. Now, arguable that he didn't win what was the Brundage fight, right? But whatever, he was outstriking him. That's what this fight is like, can he survive that time? And it correlates, right, exactly with Angelo's comment. He's probably going to have adversity in the first round. He's going to have his back on the cage. He's going to be on his back, whatever it might be. That's going to stall out the scoring ability. Basically, when you're playing McConaughey in fantasy, it's a negative correlated. It's a bad parlay, right?
Look at that.
Everything else has to go right. Everything has to go right.
Look at that decision win right there.
Gross.
It's just gross.
Exactly. Every single thing has to go around him, needs to go right for you, as well as every favorite has to win. So it's really a crazy parlay, basically, to play him in fantasy.
Here's the best take. 1122 says Johnson needed a split decision to beat a guy who got 30-27 by Cedricus Dumas. ... Is there anything else we need to say? Thank you.
All right, we could spend an hour on Dante Johnson and Eric McConaughey, which is comical.
It's going to be so funny if Dante Johnson goes out there and starches this dude in the first minute or something like that.
Why is the price so fucking high on McConaughey at plus 550 inside the distance when Dante could easily gas out? And I feel like that number covers all the rounds, which is okay, a fluke knockout, but if I want to get greedy, you want to get greedy, a second or third round McConaughey win if we're touching double digits, I might have to like poke at that because it's like neither of these guys are good. I hate that argument, like, but
what's funny is this is the best fighter Dante Johnson has faced, and I think it's not even close. And that's not saying Eric McConaughey is good. He's not good.
He's a 50-50 fighter in the UFC.
That's saying how bad who he's fought so far is.
Yeah. For fantasy wise, did I even tell you that I think Johnson's going to be over a third of the field, close to 35 to 40. So he's going to, like I said, be a scary fade. I think you kind of have to consider it at a third. In McConaughey, like we talked about, such a difficult click. He might be bottom 3 ownership on this slate because nobody wants to play him. So, yep, that's that. We just talked a shit ton of time about that crazy fight.
Over 1.5 juice too, minus 166 on DraftKings. So people putting on.
I'm starting to talk myself into taking a McConaughey by knockout, or just waiting until the fight happens after the first round, and it's like double digits McConaughey plus 1,000. I can't believe I'm talking myself into that. I might do that. The late notice replacement here for Charles Johnson, Eduardo Chapelin versus Charles Johnson. On the fantasy side of things, we have the first value we've had in a shit ton of time, I'd say. 6,900, a minus 120 favorite. Chapelin priced at inaccurate, plus 100 underdog range, and he's a 7,900 for pricing for fantasy. I think the line could even swap. I think people are actually privy to Chapelin being pretty damn good. Beating Antoine Ho is really a good feather in your cap. I mean, look at Kavanaugh did the same thing. He's a power punching monster outside of the regional scene. He would be in the UFC, one of those guys that is honestly closer to a Charles Johnson than not, meaning he can turn back competition. I'm high on Anton Ho. I think he'll get into the UFC eventually. And you know, this is a guy in the featherweight division here in Chapelin who actually gets finishes. Tough matchup, I think, for Charles Johnson. I understand why he's the favorite. He was in the fight anyways. And then Ochoa, who I think you and I probably would have been all over Ochoa, right? Like we would have had Ochoa knockout. I know I would have.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Jose Ochoa does go out. Now we get DC's boy, Eduardo Chapelin, in there, who DC obviously loves. He's fought in the Contender Series. The kid he fought was pretty good. I will say, though, the kid he fought, it was like a perfect stylistic matchup for Chapelin. You know, he was kind of a hittable guy who easily got moved back. There wasn't much like, it wasn't like circling and trying to make it like difficult for Chapelin to like get him against the fence and work the body, go for takedowns and stuff like that, which Ho was like kind of easily giving him. I will say too, there was a super illegal knee in the first round, which I don't care what anyone says. Like when you get clean shot like that to the face with like a knee and your hands are down, you're like not expecting that. That's gotta like change the fight a little bit there, to be fair. I do think Charles Johnson is you said it's a good matchup for Chapelin. I think it's a really annoying matchup for him because Charles Johnson is going to be constantly circling. And when you're constantly circling, it makes it harder for you to pin a guy down, get his back against the fence, which is what Chapelin likes to do. When Chapelin is having success, he's getting you kind of up against the fence and he's throwing in big combinations. He'll work to the body. And then kind of from there, if you initiate grappling, he'll go into the grappling. He's got good takedowns, I think, when he uses them. And he does have, you know, he does have some finishing ability. But like Charles is going to be on his bike, which is just going to stall the scoring, which is annoying because if he was fighting someone like not like that, Chapelin would score a lot of fantasy points. He'd be a really good play because he has an all-around game for fantasy. He's got the takedowns. He's got the pressure. You know, he's got the striking to hurt you on the feet, to hurt you on the ground, multiple takedowns for DFS scoring. So he's a good guy for DFS to target. I think it's a bad matchup for DFS, and I could see a world where this fight busts. I think Chapolin is the better DFS play because he has more upside. I think Charles Johnson, though, is going to be annoying and make this a split decision fight. So I'm going to say this fight goes to split decision here. So like I think Charles Johnson has a good chance to win in a split, but for a DFS pick, I think Chapolin is the better DFS play, if that makes sense.
Isn't it funny that you have a late replacement priced accurately 7,900 who is going to actually garner 15% ownership? Years ago, I've been doing this just like yourself for many, many years. That type of play would have been 6%, max 6% owned. People are privy to, hey, Chapolin still can win this fight. It's to flip a coin type of fight. And there's also, I think it also says that there's not a lot of dogs people like when he is 16% owned, 15, 16% owned. And then Charles Johnson being 50% owned. There's your decision making on the whole entire slate. That is how you're going to be building your lineups. And I talked about it earlier. I tend to take the chalk because you don't get dealt these situations often. So when you get dealt a minus 120 at 6,900, he does so much for your lineups, first of all. How does he bust? Like you said, if it's a shitty fight in there, he's circling out and not scoring. But I feel like there's that phantom scoring, right? There's that UFC stats, the little sprinkle of additional strikes. It's going to be
Chapolin pressure. Do they, you know what I mean? He's going to be trying to pressure and trap Johnson, and Johnson's going to be circling out. He's going to be stabbing him to the body with the kick, circle out, hitting him with a punch, switching stances. Like Ho wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't doing any of that. It was just like straight line, like move backwards, move forward. Like there was not a ton of like circling. That's why I thought it was a great stylistic matchup for Chapolin. Like this is the opposite.
Yeah, I just think that any form of a win for fantasy, strictly talking fantasy, is going to be optimal for Charles Johnson. That's the game of chicken that you're playing. But here's the thing. I think in order to get unique, okay, let's talk about trying to win $100,000 here at Run Pure Sports. We don't want to split with other people. If I'm playing Charles Johnson, you're going to have people start pairing that with one of the 5-round main events. I think inherently when you start taking a dog, for instance, you take Charles Johnson, maybe you like Chidi, maybe you like Luque. That's when you start getting different because people are going to play that 5-round dogs at a high rate. So that's where I'm trying to think differently than everybody else. Then I might be targeting some of those, what do we always say, the favorites that are lower owned than the competition, right? It's a very tricky slate. K-Fal says, what's the ownership looking like for Johnson? Charles Johnson, I'm looking at 52. So say 50 to 55% owned. I don't think people are going to jam him like historically they have. Person like me looks at it as an opportunity, right? It looks at, okay, I can take Johnson. I can fade some of the main event 5-round pieces. So then that's going to make me different in the pool. And I think you're not playing it right if you're playing Chapolin. Because, like, what are you going to play with Chapolin? It's not like he does a lot for your lineups. You're still stuck with this salary problem that we have. Then you have to be exact behind him, which is a negative. Well, in a different pricing, he'd be negatively correlated, at 7,900. And there's just such stronger plays around Chapolin, I would argue. Wouldn't you agree with that? There's stronger plays around Chapolin?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just because, like I said, who he's fighting. If he was fighting someone different, I think Chapolin would be like one of the better DFS plays, but it's just the style I think is going to give him, it's going to make it annoying. I think he's going to I think you're going to see him get like visibly frustrated from not being able to like find Johnson.
Yeah. No, it's a Charles Johnson fight week, and it just got even more crazy when he got that late notice replacement. Let's just put it that way. We move on to the next fight of the night where we see Joel Alvarez versus Chidi Njokuani. We have Joel Alvarez as the favorite here in this spot. He is a minus of 305 favorite. Chidi is a plus 245 underdog. fucking banger of a fight, man. I mean, the more you kind of dig into this fight, like, not necessarily binary, but like Chidi could definitely hurt Alvarez. Alvarez almost bleeds in every single one of his fights because he's closing that distance to get those limbs. But when you look at like Alvarez's biggest attribute in his fights, it's his goddamn size. And then you look at the weigh-ins, it's almost like a mirror of himself. Chidi might be a little bit bigger. Like it was, he had to cut that weight. He was the last one to make weight, Chidi, which is a little bit concerning, a little bit, because that grappling could get off. He was struggling to get those extra pounds off. But I don't look at Joel Alvarez as having like elite offensive wrestling. Do you? Because it's like,
No.
that's sometimes the path for Njokuani to lose fights. But like, I could absolutely see Joel Alvarez run himself into some bullshit here, like a big, huge strike from Chidi.
Yeah, I don't think he does have elite wrestling. The problem is against Chidi, I don't think you need like elite wrestling. You just need to like kind of get a hold of him, or
Yeah.
for Alvarez's sake, like I think he just has to like get a hold of him. I think out in range, he's gonna be terrified because Chidi is very fast. He's got power, like you said. He's not going to have the size advantage. Like Chidi is big, man. Chidi is big. He's longer than him too. That, you know, he's going to want to get a hold of this guy. If he does get a hold of this guy, I think that's his path right there. So I'm going to lean Joel Alvarez taking this thing and getting it to the ground. That's kind of my take. And once he gets it to the ground, then Chidi's in his world. And we saw like the Jake Matthews fight where Chidi he tries to explode up. And against like, you can do that shit against like the lower level guys and not get like subbed or anything like that. Like, remember Jake Matthews? He just stood up and wasn't even like really like, he was kind of fighting the hands, but he tried to like just throw him to the side and it didn't work. He ended up tapping, and Jake Matthews was like on the side of his body, but had the choke in, but was literally on the side of his body because Chidi like tried to whip him off. Like, you can't do that against experienced grapplers and it work. And Joel Alvarez, like another guy, like he's going to do the same thing. I think it's going to find its way down there. Once it gets down there, Joel Alvarez has really good ground and pound. He's got good submissions. And I think Chidi's going to make a mistake. Like he did against Jake Matthews, where it's just like, I can't be here. You know what I mean? So I gotta get up somehow. And that's where Joel's going to take advantage. So yeah, I'm on the Alvarez side. You know, for DFS, I think you could make a case like, hey, Joel Alvarez coming in, he gets caught. You know, if you want to play a little cheaty, he does have finishing upside. But we've seen where fights that extend with cheaty don't look great all the time.
Few points to hit on. Brandon W in chat brings up one of the wildest stats. Alvarez has one successful takedown. I had to double check the notes, crazy. You know. I was like, there's no way, but I guess he's a guard puller at best. He will just go for it because then when he knows he can reverse you and whatnot.
I had no idea that stat. That's insane.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. That's
a great
tremendous.
Stat.
Well, not for fantasy, but
no, it's a great stat just to know. Like it's I know that his takedowns aren't good. You know what I mean? But in my head, like I would have thought he had more than one take. He has a lot of fights.
Yeah, no, a hell of a lot. Now, the other point I was going to bring up is I actually look at MAKHACHEV and Njokuani as somewhat of the same ownership tier, right? You're talking less than 10%, perhaps.
I would take Chidi all day over Eric MAKHACHEV.
There you go. I'm not even making a group. You know, I'm a guy that likes to make
more power, like way more power.
Exactly. Those 10 points for a knockdown mean a hell of a lot more than anything that MAKHACHEV is going to do against the cage. So I agree with you big time that I would probably just be sprinkling in 7,300 Chidi into my bigger player pool. You know, I'm not going to go do that with one lineup, but yeah, I do like it, and I think it's easy to get underweight on Alvarez because on other slates and other matchups, he's going to be a higher owned guy, but he's a third of the field. which is matching somewhat of some of these other guys you were talking about. A lot of the upper 9K range is not 33%. So I think it's easier to get just kind of fade it, right? I think we're talking ourselves into a somewhat of a fade. It's not a true fade because I don't think there's one fight you can fade on this slate with a total.
Well,
bit of
I don't know
confidence.
if I'm gonna fade it just because I'm gonna be lower on Dante. So if I'm lower on Dante, it's like the same. It's like the same pricing range, and I can't. I don't think I can fade all those AK guys. You know what I mean? Or be lower on like all those AK guys. So, because they're gonna fit my builds. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna fit my builds.
They're
Obviously,
I
like the Fernando Tobias fight a little bit more, but just thinking like if I'm under on Dante, I definitely probably gotta be somewhat in line with Joel Alvarez.
Yeah, and we move on from a lot of grappling to an absolute banger of a fight. We have Esteban Ribovic versus Edson Barbosa. Both strikers coming in here, hopefully going in for a knockout. Get that, what is it, 100K now bonus because it's a pay-per-view, I think. I don't think it's 50K. Minus 700 Ribovic. Wow. That's all I can say. Prices, everything. Versus Barbosa plus 500. Am I the only one that saw the weigh-ins and went, there's like, I mean, he always has scar tissue, but it looks like he had just had a scar above his left eye, Barbosa, or was right or left eye. I think that thing's going to open up pretty quick. He always has that scar tissue that opens, so it's not going to look good for the judging. Ribovic will probably hurt him early, but Ribovic is getting taken down by a lot of people here, JSU. I'm not saying that like Edson's going to actively go in there and look for takedowns, but when you look at the mixed martial arts of the aspect of the fight, I would argue Barbosa has more tools to win the fight. Age isn't on his side. Durability probably isn't on his side. Ribovic hits like a truck, but why can't Edson go in there and get a takedown or two?
I mean, it's probably his path. The problem with Edson is he's just so old now. He's got so many fights. I mean, this isn't Edson. This would be a totally different fight if we were talking, Edson Barbosa, 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just not. That's not who he is anymore. You know what I mean? It isn't. And I think it's just the wear and tear. Rimovic's the way he fights. He's going to be constantly pushing forward. And, he's probably going to find I mean, like you said, Edson's got the cut. The weight cut was weird too, where he was like legitimately stunned. He's like, what's going on? I don't know. I think Rimovic.
What about that lighting? That there was like 3 people that weighed in that looked like they were quite literally seeing the pearly gates.
Yeah, they gotta fix that. So that was weird. But even if he goes for takedowns, like this is a good point. Coffee and Breakfast says, I think Barbosa gets 2 takedowns and gasses out. Like, yeah, because Rimovic isn't gonna stop. Like, he's not gonna stop working. So he's gonna be a tough dude. Even if he gets down, he's gonna keep trying to push to get up. And when he's on the feet, the volume is insane. I mean, take out the Gamrot fight and obviously the fight where he lost in the first round to McKinney, and look at those last 3 fights. It's like 156, 147, 122 significant strikes. I mean, how does Edson hold up to any of that? Like, he's going to go down. It's just a matter of when. Does he go down the first or the second?
It's as simple as that. And the floor is going to be just a gajillion strikes. That's the problem. Fantasy-wise, it's even more of a problem because look at the pricing. You've got him at 9,400 Ribovic. He's going to be just under half of the field, I think, are going to play him. The inside the distance lines are really soaking up a lot of the ownership on this slate. I kind of like it.
Mark this down. Rimovic's strike number. We got to make sure we look at that because I think an under is in play here.
Oh, yeah. Especially
depending on what the line is. I want to see what the line is, but.
Yeah, and the path that I said with Edson going for a takedown, which I will be betting Edson for 1 takedown at plus 300. Not advisable to everybody, but just because he could just fall into 1 takedown. Like there's a lot of paths for 3 to 1. It's not going to look that bad, even if they close distance. Because Edson also will do those like judo throws which might count as. I've seen how many judo throws over the past few weeks where they're not giving them a takedown. There was one,
and that's clearly his weakness, right? Is
exactly
the takedown.
it's exploitability.
100%.
But yeah, Baribovic minus 185. That is the driving factor. And when you're long-term into this fantasy thing, like you, myself, I just look at that and I'm like, 50% of the field is buying into first round equity.
Mm-hmm.
And when that thing gets to a second round, unfortunately, you can get bailed out because it's Edson Barbosa who could get lit up with a zillion strikes. So you can get bailed out that way. But your window is really narrow at 9,400. So just what I'm saying is be careful of playing Ribovic in a high amount of your lineups, because there's some lower owned guys. Like I talked about Fernando, you and I both liked him. He's half the ownership of Ribovic and arguably could have quick win, could have multiple knockdowns in the first round and outscore him. So that's the state of fantasy. That's the state of MMA that we have right now. We move on to the next fight, though, where we see another big price tag for Mansour Abdulmalik versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Minus 700, same price as Ribovic on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Stoltzfus, the plus 500. The fuck are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, Mansour is a busted prospect at this stage because of the Bulgari thing. He was supposed to go in. Another guy who seemingly comes with a wrestling type of background, power striking background, and he doesn't actively use it. Like, I feel like if Mansour came out and sold out with a first round plan to just go for takedowns, go with the Anthony Witt strategy, powerhouse, get to the top, power strike from top. He wins this fight, 9 out of 10 times against Stoltzfus? Like, seriously, he can probably melt him.
I mean, yeah.
But we've seen like what he looks like deeper in fights.
But okay, I got to push back on this here real quick. So this dude loses to Belgari or whatever his name is in the third round, which I told you guys it was going to happen. We're really picking that fight as the one to, we've seen it. Like, dude, he is nasty. I keep trying to tell you this. This dude is like 79-inch reach. He's 6'6". I mean, Mansour is not going to have to deal with that many freaks like that are just so big and so massive, pumping that jab, everything, top tier kickboxer right there. That is not Dustin Stoltzfus. I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus is I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to move my head that much. I'm very hittable. I've shown durability the last couple fights, but before that, I've been put out like, maybe I throw in a takedown or two, which I don't think he's going to be able to do to Mansour. Like, that is Dustin Stoltzfus. It is not Yursi at all. So I don't think we can even use that fight. We can use that fight to say, like, okay, maybe Mansour is not top tier, but you cannot tell me, Mike, that this fight is just a setup fight to get Mansour back up on the top pedestal here. This is a get back fight for shit. We might have fucked you a little bit putting you against Yursi too soon here. So nobody saw that too, and I think it's unfair when we clearly can see that Yursi is. I mean, he's a top tier dude. I mean, he's going to give a lot of people issues in this division.
My problem is that he doesn't do a lot in his fights. So I come from the fantasy world. That's where I start breaking these things down. Yes, you can't just pinpoint that Bulgari fight and say that's that. That was just like, I would say, a big outlier. Because look at the competition. Turcoli, professional poker player. Cody Brundage, yeah, okay, whatever. He was winning that fight anyways. But what would he have scored in that fight, JSU? He would have scored 45 points in a win.
Yeah.
My big thing is just it's easy to avoid Mansour. I had a good friend, Brett Apley, who you know.
Yep.
He says, man, crazy stat. Abdulmalik stats from his last 3 fights in round 1. 7 strikes, 0 takedowns. 4 strikes, 0 takedowns. 1 strike, 0 takedowns against Klein.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I agree that this is why I've been fading Mansoor since he's been in the UFC, is because he's low volume and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I will say a very hittable Dustin Stoltzfus is a nice way to get back after the Ursi fight. It's a perfect fight to get this dude a win, and a win by finish. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let me show you the bounce back. This is perfect. There's a parallel here. Bruno Ferreira versus Stoltzfus. That was the same type of thing where they loved Bruno, right? They knew he had that first round equity. He went out there and destroyed Stoltzfus, if you remember. And I mean, destroyed him. That's what they're looking for from Mansoor. He doesn't do this here. He'll never get another opportunity. I don't think they're going to give him another one.
And you got to remember, too, the other fighter on the other side helps kind of make fights, too, especially for someone like Mansoor, who we all already know is kind of low volume. I feel like Dustin Stoltzfus is going to try and make this a fight, which helps Mansoor, is kind of my...
It's kind of funny that he's got such a narrow path with probably a submission. Like, his jiu-jitsu is significantly better than Malik. The athleticism might win out in some of these positions, which is even more funny, right? Like, Mansoor might just fucking reverse out of something because he's a freak athlete, right? But I was trying to find the best price for submission for Stoltzfus, and I still can't price it.
So who are you taking here? Paul says Abdul and Rimovic, both same price on both sites. You can only have one, Mike. Who are you taking before I answer this one?
It's an ownership play. I have to play Abdul Malik. He's going to be half the owner. Well, not exactly half, but like closer to half the ownership than Rimovic. And the ceiling is higher. Rimovic could tactically go about it. He's got a great floor. It's tricky, right? We're splitting hairs, but Rimovic has a good floor of significant strikes and that first round finish. So if he gets a deep 5-minute, 4.5 minute finish for Rimovic, it might actually outdo Abdul if he dominates in a minute and a half. You know what I'm saying? So I actually will just take the lower ownership in Abdul Malik because pricing isn't an issue. And just pray that Rimovic gets to the second round. You're muted.
Great. My bad. I probably agree with you here. I'll take the lower ownership and just hope that wins out here with the very hittable Dustin Stoltzfus. I do see both fights finishing, so it just kind of depends on, how they go about finishing here. And, it's definitely a tough one, but I'll lean the Abdul side with lower ownership.
It's not like we can get any leverage in these spots. Let's just put it that way. And God forbid I'm going to have to be forced to. Holy shit.
And I agree with this. Like, let's be clear. Like, if I'm choosing, Oralby is number one. He is number one in the tier, 9K. Then we get the drop-offs, right? There's drop-offs here. Even Islam, honestly. Like Oralby is the number one in the 9K range.
I mean, I kind of hope that Abdul Malik just rolls here just so we get a price on like this again on him. So then eventually we can fade when he steps up again. And who gets a step up after destroying people's legs? That's Cowie Fernandez. He's got the opportunity against Jalen Turner here. And we have Mr. Turner as the favorite in this fight on DraftKings Sportsbook. He is a -112. Cowie Fernandez -108. I think I heard rumblings that the line is getting towards Fernandez and other sports books. I'm looking all over the place. It's virtually a pick 'em, man. Why are we just going to talk about leg kicks? Why can't we just talk about the whole mixed martial arts aspect? I guess it's because he's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He can hold his own on the mat, right? Cowie Fernandez. They're both the same age, JSU. Jalen Turner, before he retired, was a fucking monster. Like, he was a problem because he's so long. He's got all the tools for submission game. He doesn't obviously, offensive wrestle? Like, what's the one thing that he doesn't do? He's got volume striking when he needs it. They've positioned him to have an opportunity here. Look at the placement on the card. I try to look at everything in the whole picture. they're not trying to build Cowie Fernandez, are they? I mean, what are we doing? After the leg kicks, they think he can chop down the Turner tree with leg kicks? Yes, he can, absolutely.
He could, he could, and I think Cowie's a little better than I think you're understanding a little bit. I think
Yeah.
I think he's a good fighter. Jalen Turner though is a really good fighter who honestly, he did quit, so I don't love that. He did quit, but he came back, and he still got it. I think he's super dangerous. Even in some of his losses, you know, he'll lose, but they are fun, exciting. Some of them. So to me, I think it's can Jalen Turner get through the kicks? If Jalen Turner can get through the kicks, he's got the size, he's got length. Right. If he gets through those kicks, he's going to have success. He's going to have to walk through some shit because Cowie is good. He's fast. But if he can get through those, I think he's going to have a good chance to, maybe hurt Cowie here. So I am on the Jalen Turner side. But I totally get the line is starting to go in Cowie's favor. He's probably going to flip to a favorite if he hasn't already. Right now, it's like literally almost a pick on -112, -108 on DK. But yeah, no, I think Jalen Turner, honestly, I think he's, just got a little more. He's definitely fought the better competition. Cowie Fernandez competition, not as good as Jalen Turner. So I'm going to lean more to the guy with better competition in Jalen Turner.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a guy that retired, right, quote unquote. And normally I don't like backing these guys, but this guy was so young in his career still, had a massive ceiling when he quote unquote retired, right? Like he has all the talent in the world. And I feel like he's like, what else am I going to do? Am I going to go to the gym and be training these people off the street and get my $150 per an hour for training? No, I'm not going to do that. Let's get back in there. Let's see what we can do. And they gave him that great matchup against Barbosa. I guess the problem for me is that he's just not so active in the UFC, right? At least Fernandez is fighting. That's another big thing. The Harry Hardwick getting out of the octagon in the stretcher or whatever, not even a stretcher, it was a fucking wheelchair for Christ's sake because of the leg kicks, is one of the most comical things and will always be in history.
I mean, but look at these wins. Kutaladze, Hardwick, Yaya.
All of them out of the UFC. I think Gorham's out of the UFC too. Like every single one of those people is out of the UFC.
And an L to Diakazi or whatever. Like that is not very good right there. I mean, how are we going to get? I know Jalen Turner has had some bad looks in the UFC, but they're at least bad looks to good fighters, man. Like really good fighters.
So I was talking earlier about a fight that I want to jam because there's fights where I took my flag and said I don't want, like Treson Gore right below him and Luque. This is a fight I might be jamming because I think there's a lot of uncertainty and the ceiling is absolutely here. Jalen Turner's fights do not bust, right? He's scoring like 100 and gajillion points.
And he's going to have to be aggressive.
Yep,
he's going to have to close the distance or he's going to get picked apart with the leg kicks. And he's got to know that. So that's why I agree with you. I think this is a good fight to target because I think Jalen Turner, especially if the fight goes the way we think, and I assume you're on the Jalen Turner side.
I am bigly.
Yeah. If the fight goes the way we think and we like Jalen Turner, I think you got to like Jalen Turner, closing the distance, being able to be effective, get some really good shots off, and maybe hurt Cowie, who likes to work at his own range, right? Right, Mike? Like he works at his own range.
To. Those little flip the leg kicks out, hit the front leg, chop them down, whatever. He'll switch position, and then Turner might be hitting him with a jab. Like it's kind of straightforward. And then on the fantasy, like I was about to say, at 8,600, he's kind of in this range of. Then you can go up to Johnson, right? Like if I have the 8,800, I might leave 200 on the table and play Turner. You know what I mean? On this type of slate, that's the decision making that is going to be super important. Not to mention, Turner is going to be lower owned than Cowie Fernandez. Cowie Fernandez is going to be one of the popular dogs outside of clearly Charles Johnson or the two main event underdogs. So you're actually garnering leverage on the field.
Here's the thing, though. So 1122 says Turner has fought elite competition, but has lost to them all. Yes, but he's went to decisions with these guys. He has, made some IQ mistakes where he'd been winning and then ends up losing. So it's not like he's just getting rolled and losing by all these guys. He's in the fight in a lot of these fights. You know what I mean? He's on the wrong end of some of these fights on some of these decisions and stuff like that. But it'd be different if he was getting like rolled by them. He's not. So he's clearly at around that level. He might be not 100% above that level, but he's clearly around that level. Is Cowie around that level? Is he above that level? I guess that's what you got to ask yourself. If you think Cowie is that level, then it makes sense why you'd be on Cowie. But I don't know if he is that level. And I feel very confident that Jalen Turner at least belongs in the cage with those top tier fighters.
How many lineups are going to start with Cowie Fernandez, Charles Johnson? I should have said it in reverse order. Charles Johnson first click, Cowie Fernandez. There's slight money line
Definitely
value on
Cowie.
Fernandez.
How about Cowie Fernandez, Charles Johnson, and Dante Johnson?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Well,
that's the chalk.
Well, then you can get any 9K. Then
we're just building out a lineup, but then you throw in the 2 5-round fighters, and it's like, okay, well, you got one spot left. There's your chalk right there.
That I was just gonna say, we're basically showing the lineup that makes most logical sense. But when you're trying to garner the leverage, it's not like you or I are gonna necessarily jam Chapeline because of but it makes sense to jam Turner because there's your leverage point on the slate.
What's I forgot to ask you this. What's Chapeline to get like what's his like takedown ladder? Because I forgot to talk about this, but I think like the way he would win the fight is wrestling. Like I feel like that's his path. He's gotta find a way to get a hold of Johnson. Like wrestling could get him like attached. And then from there, like wrestle this, like DC always talks about like the single and stuff. And we know he's a DC guy. So like
they're wrestling.
Yeah, they're probably working on the problem is he did look decent on the scales too. Like I would expect him to come in if they're not worried about his cardio, you to see him try to wrestle in this fight.
My problem was he wasn't even scheduled for a fight. Like you think a guy like this since last September, Contenders would have been scheduled for something by now, and he hasn't been. So that's a little
maybe they didn't love his fight.
Yep, and to your point, 1.5 takedowns, Chapeline minus 135. You can also go most takedowns for him, minus 160. That's that 3-way market. That's a little tricky. Then his ladder starts at 3 at plus 175, all the way up to 6 takedowns at 8-1. So not the best pricing on that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because I think that's his path to winning.
Yeah, potentially a lot of takedowns in the next fight, but make sure you guys are using the code Forever25 lifetime package, Run Pure Sports. I think that the NFL is here. What better time than right now? You have all of the niche sports. I think we shine in the niche sports, don't you? Like, I've always loved the niche sports. What is it? What are these esports? Never slows down.
Yeah, I mean the niche sports. That's the cool thing. A lot of great sites out there, but not all of them where you literally sign up and you can get everything under one umbrella, one package. You get it all. You get the bets, you get the DFS, all the DFS too. Not just NFL, MLB, NBA, not just the main sports, right? Golf. We have esports or LOL. We have NASCAR. MMA, obviously, tennis, everything like that. And we got bets for these soccer, all throughout, DFS plus all the bets and stuff like that. We're literally hitting everything. So if you're into, not just one sport, but like all the sports and you're playing all these things, especially the niche sports, it's the best for sure. College football, college basketball. We got Bruce for college football who does our projections, full college football hub too, where you'll be able to like click on players and it gives you like a little breakdown. It's really, really cool what we got going on with these new hubs for football, college football, and then obviously college basketball with our guy Stevie Boynton. So we got all the niche stuff here. Check it out. Forever 25. Get in and hit the like button on the video.
Oh, damn, you stole my thunder. Get 2 thumbs up. Get your mom to log on here for these last 2 fights. Get her to like these videos as well. And we get 2 title fights to break down. I love 2 title fight cards. All the ownership here, as well as the big names. Let's be honest. I saw you clicking around on Jalen Turner's fight. I saw you there. The MMA Hub.
I was just clicking on it to see
Yeah.
what we got there.
Yeah, definitely a fun fight to target. We start here with Mackenzie Dern as the favorite, -192 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Jillian Robertson, a +160. They do not want Mackenzie Dern to lose the title. That's my breakdown. They said, what can we do to keep her title on her? Well, tough matchup here, tough matchup there, tough. Actually, everybody's tough. What about Jillian Robertson? Wrestler, submission artist. I think Mackenzie Dern holds the advantage on the feet. I think she could. Her striking is evolving. Robertson seems pretty reliant on the takedown. Do you think it's as simple as that? Because I don't think it's going to be a bloodbath here for Mackenzie when she, hits a ceiling, but it can be competitive enough in the first couple rounds, and I still think Mackenzie Dern can score a zillion points.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting fight. I do think Dern kind of holds a lot of the cards here. I do like her in the striking. I mean, the grappling, is it a wash? Is Mackenzie better? Is Jillian better? I think there's like an argument. It's really interesting though, because like, do these girls want to prove that one of them's better? Like, I could totally see that type of fight because Jillian in the stand-up is just not as good as Dern. I don't think, and I don't think she wants to do that. That's not how she wins in a lot of her fights. I think she's going to be the one trying to push the grappling because Mackenzie's going to be like pushing forward, right? So like Mackenzie's going to be pressuring. She's going to throw. Not that Mackenzie's striking is amazing. I don't want to make it sound like that, but she's going to be throwing. And I think Jillian's going to be the one like, no, I'm not afraid of you. Like everyone comes in, they're afraid. I'm not afraid of you. I have really good grappling too. And I think we kind of get to see who has better grappling. That's my kind of take on this fight is I think it gets to the ground and maybe we get a finish on the ground because these girls aren't afraid of each other. I think Mackenzie is going to almost like welcome it. Like, okay, you want to do this? Like, let's do it. And, see who wins there. But if she just wants to like defend takedowns, I think Mackenzie could, and then just stay on the feet. I think that would be the path, another path for her to win. I just see more paths for her than I do Jillian. Like if this goes to a decision, Mike, who do you think wins the fight?
Oh, you don't even want to hear. It so swings on Dern's side because of the striking. Even if there's grappling exchanges, the intermediary, right? It's Robertson has gotten a little bit more aggressive as her career has gone on.
Yeah, but it's more on the ground.
Exactly. It's top position. So I'm saying the intermediary of getting to those scrambles can be more violent for Dern, whether it be knees, elbows, something like that to do damage, which is scoring a hell of a lot more.
And I don't even think she has the advantage on the ground. I think Mackenzie has the advantage. That's kind of my full take is like, no matter where this fight goes, obviously Jillian wants to be in top position. I'm not like, if she's in top position, that's good for Jillian. But like, I don't think she's going to be in top position for that much of this fight.
She needs full mount. The top position is what it is because she could get reversed from top position. And I truly believe that. My favorite thing, exactly what Chad is saying. DraftKings Sportsbook has the best line out there, +200. Mama Dern. I love it inside the distance. I mean, how do you not just play that? That's one of my favorite bets on the slate because of the value, because everywhere else it's about +150. You're getting 50 cents of value on DraftKings Sportsbook playing that, just covering both things. I was also going to mention if I can find an absolutely crazy number on knockout for Dern, I might do that because that might be one of those move fighters and they kind of cancel each other out to a certain extent. Full mount.
I'm going to say this. I think if there's a chance for one of these girls to sub the other, I think they go for it.
Because they want to prove a point.
They want to prove a point. Yeah.
Correct. but I feel like trying to split a hair and you're giving me 10-1 on something like that by knockout, I probably will bite. And that's why I said I like that inside the distance plus 200 on DraftKings. So you're covering both. But you hate when I'm not greedy. You should be saying, yeah, go for it. Go for the knockout, Dern.
Yeah, do it. Don't be a puss. I mean, get in there. I love it. I love the Dern inside the distance. I have a weird feeling that she's gonna find the sub, but
it's not an armbar type of situation. It's a rear naked. It's a tactic. Like it's a head and arm choke after wearing her down. It's not a fluky low percentage.
She's tired and she's trying to get her own takedowns, and that's when Mackenzie's gonna catch her in something. Because I think like fresh, it's gonna be tough for either of these girls to like catch the other one. You know what I mean? Like they both know like what's coming when they're doing certain things. Like they, but it's when the fight lengthens a little bit. So yeah, I'm on Dern. I'm on Dern by sub or inside the distance.
Isn't it funny how divisive the fight is when you're looking at these ladies too? You've got the people that are in the camp of Mackenzie Dern, who has her own type of market, and then you've got the weed smoking, redhead, bleached.
I love that you said her own type of market, like
hey,
like her own type of market.
We're not even talking OnlyFans fight. You know what I mean? These are professional fighters.
These are professional. That's a professional ass right there, and a fighter.
It's funny. You got Jillian go up to the scale, keep everything on, whatever.
Poor
Dern always takes the top off, takes the pants off. Like
if I'm I'll tell you right now, if I'm Mackenzie Dern, the top's coming off, the body, like you're pulling the pants down, you're pulling the sweatshirt off. You're giving the whole show to the people.
You got the daughter behind you, like we know, like she's paying for college just doing that. You know what I mean? So imagine how many more photos she's signing with like.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's incredible. But definitely.
Poor Jillian. Poor Jillian.
Hey, she can still smoke her weed with her fans, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We move on to the next. Well, let me tell about the ownership wise. Dern coming in pretty low owned. I think that she's one of the odd people out. I think she's 25, but there is a world where people like Jillian so much in a 5-round fight that she's over owned.
Yep.
I think that she could be leveraged. I think 40% might be a conservative number for Jillian because there's just not a lot of paths to go. I mean, are you going to be playing Ian Machado Gary? I don't know. I think it might be the situation where it's a better bet. But I do see a world where Dern is optimal, and optimal is leverage. That's a wild thing to say on this slate because I just don't see people playing her.
Mike says Robertson takedown line is 2.5 juiced at -150 to the over. I like the under. Give me the under.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly muscle too. So if she's getting those over 2.5, it's going to be a lot of energy that's going to get zapped because she's going to have to do something with those takedowns. They can't just simply be take you down and Mackenzie gets back up.
It's just got to be the 5-round thing though, because I don't even think her what she's special at is the grappling. Like her takedowns aren't like crazy in my opinion.
Let me just roll off a couple names here on this division and then we'll move on to them. Like Mackenzie Dern right behind, they're going to wait for that Wiley Zhang fight. Zhang will be back. She'll kill her. Jernadolba, she beat her. Yao Zhao would be like interesting if she could stop takedowns. Tatiana Suarez is probably a tough matchup for Dern. Lucindo is there. Klein would fucking mollywop Mackenzie Dern. You and I know that, right? Like Klein would
Fatima
eat her up. So
God, I love
protecting her. I would argue Tabitha Ricci would give her a fight. Not a ton, but it wouldn't be nice. But it's like, so they are just
dude. I want to see Fatima needs a title shot. UFC, let's do it. We need to see it. We need to see Fatima and Dern. I need to see it.
I mean, I have tickets, Fatima, like 70-1 to win it this year. But but that's because she was just like an A-plus prospect. And in the back of my head, I said New York City. She's a New York City girl or New Jersey girl with Aaron Blanchfield. The marketing writes itself. So hopefully Mackenzie gets a quick win, no damage, and can turn around for that card.
They definitely want Klein to beat up on all of the top 5 before they give Dern to Klein.
This is Dern's probably last fight of the year as well, just to throw that out there. She's not as active as, you might think. And another guy who I guess, I don't know, is Islam active? No, yes, no, kind of. So I don't know. Islam Makhachev.
I put that as a no.
Yeah. He should be more active because he doesn't fucking take any damage. But he is a minus 360 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Ian Machado Gary, a plus 285. Ball is in your court. I've been talking a lot this slate, but I see a lot of love for people changing sides this week, going to Ian Gary. I see where they could like it, but there's needing to be a lot of stalling and a lot of significant strikes for him to even catch up to the grappling and the potential blanket that is Islam.
Yeah, man, it sucks. I do think that this fight has a really good chance of busting. What's the ownership looking like on this fight?
Islam, I'm seeing just over a third, so say 35 to 40. I see Ian Machado at 15. Let's say 20. He'll get more than that number, 20, 25 on a good day, but 20 conservative.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to be lower on this fight and hope that Machado can do enough to almost stall the fight a little bit. Hopefully he can stop some of the takedowns. It's kind of when we're talking Islam, once he gets a takedown, he's pretty good about like holding it. So hopefully Ian does a really good job of like takedown defense up against the fence, right? So hopefully he can like stop some of those. Maybe we don't get like volume takedowns. If Islam gets him down though, he might control him. But I don't know if you're going to see like Islam get 8 takedowns against Ian Gary. Like, I don't know if you're going to see like the volume like that, but you do get 5 rounds. I don't know. I think it's an Islam win. I think it's an Islam win by decision. Maybe some rounds are closer than we think. Like, we'll leave the round and be like, okay, who won that fight? Like Ian got some good strikes off. But like Islam was, kind of pressuring him and got a takedown and held them down for the last like 2 minutes and tried for a submission or something like that. So we could get some closer rounds to where you could sell me on maybe the line's a little wide. Ian's a little more live for a decision than we think. But I just think overall Islam is going to be too much for him where he's going to need to be able to stop, and he's probably not going to be able to do it for 5 rounds.
I see a lot of people liking the spreads just to tell Mike Guido that, yes, that's the line that they show on DraftKings. If you go to fight lines and then you scroll down to alternate point spreads, you can find that spread that Coffee's talking about. And that's a way to break down the pie. If you like Ian Machado and don't want to just have all of your money tied up in that money line equity of plus 285, that's a way you can break it down, because there's going to be spouts of Gary getting off some offense, whether it be in transition, whether it be in the beginning of rounds. He will have a little bit of success.
Well, and Islam's gonna play that game for a little bit. He'll allow it a little bit, but eventually it's not. And I just want to say something like Islam, if he gets Ian Gary down, has the ability to finish anyone. This dude's finished Charles Oliveira on the ground. He's finished Moicano on the ground. He's finished really high-level grapplers on the ground. The question is, can Ian just make him work to get him down? Can he do enough takedown defense to kind of make Islam work enough to where he expended a lot of energy, and now it's more him holding him down as opposed to him like working through for submissions and stuff like that?
It's kind of funny, too, when you look at the closing odds for Makhachev over most of his fights, and now he's just holding at like a 3-1. I think there's more buying into him in the past, say, 24 hours or so. Like, there's been a little bit more buy on Makhachev because typically he is closer to this number. But, like, when you could have gotten him closer to minus 250 it's a pretty good price tag, ultimately.
Did you hear it? Was it DC was talking and was like how strong Islam is, like his grip, like he's just like, this dude is ridiculous. Like he took me down. Islam is he's just
Man
different,
strength.
man. He's so different. It's crazy to me that Volk had that 5-round decision with him. That's still like the craziest thing, that Alexander Volkanovski was that good to have like a somewhat close 5-round decision with Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, I was meaning to say this earlier in the show, and this is going to be a good point for you to pull up pick 6 while I'm talking about this. But did you see the Gianni, the Greek video that went viral about him? And viral as in like it's in our Twitter sphere, right, of MMA. But he was talking about like favorites this year. I think there was 325 fights or some bullshit. He's 75% of those fights, the favorites are winning at a high rate this year. And I think it's a good point to put here is like the markets are valuing favorites a little too aggressive. Eventually it will go, like he always says, regress towards the mean, right? But on a spot like this, the market's always going to go towards the Muslim wrestler, Russian wrestler that's going to go for those takedowns. It's going to have control time. It's an organic favorite type of play. It's just, when is an Ian Garry going to win plus 285, right? Like, what's the mathematics behind that? Is that like 12%? I mean, plus 200 is 33%. So yeah, 20% of the time. I mean, 80-20 type of fight. I just think, we got one fight sample size, right? It always happens for us. So it's tricky. But I just found it very interesting that the winner, and then you look at, what is it? What do we have on this card? Multiple minus 800s, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you split the hair? And how are you selectively picking your underdogs to target at that? Like, do you want to get behind a Stoltzfus? Do you want to get behind a Barbosa? It's just basically what Gianni's saying is it's getting tougher and tougher to bet into these fights when the favorites are winning at such a high rate.
Yeah, no, 100%. I pulled up pick 6 here. Got significant strikes up, Mike. So let me know when you
was it Chapeline you earmarked? You earmarked somebody for significant strikes, and I am Ribovich.
It's Rimovich. It's 55.5. The question is, do we want to go Rimovich's fantasy points, which is 99.5, or do we want to take an under and just hope we get an early finish? The problem with Rimovich is like 50's in the card for like a round 1, just like demolish.
The floor of his significant strikes is so tremendous. However, Barbosa absorbing in the last few fights. Let's just do the decisions. Let's not do the Jalen Turner pillage, okay? Which obviously went under. 53, 200. Well, 2 5-round fights, so let's not even say that. So Drakkar Klose got 53 on him in a decision. That's saying that Ribovich over 3 rounds is going to get over that 55. So I like the under. I like the under 55 because it just the strikes. I like the strikes. Under. That's all I was going to say is you and I earmarking that is probably a good thing because you have that out of an early finish. The problem is if you get Jason Herzog move fighter.
Yep.
And the outside shot, like I said, that Barbosa closes the distance to get a takedown. So
give us an under on Jillian Robinson. Come on, pick 6.
If she was closer to a plus 125, plus 150, you might get the under.
Yeah. Let's see.
Do we both like Turner enough to like the over on his fantasy points, or are we concerned about stalling tactics? I think we were both high on that fight. I think you just saw that he's my 83.5.
Do we like Jalen Turner over 30.5 significant strikes, or do you like him for fantasy points?
I was going fantasy points, and that was based upon the only problem there is now that's a bad play because he's probably going to be an underdog. So you're not even
right. Really that's why I was thinking value. Strikes. Because in his wins, he's getting off, or well, like in his fights, he's getting off a ton of strikes.
Yeah, there's a lot of wide range of outcomes in that fight, I guess, which is a little bit of a problem. What about Dern's fantasy points are nearly 100. We both liked her a significant amount.
Do you want to go over 97.5?
I mean, what do you think a realistic number is? What do you think that number should be? Just out of curiosity.
I mean,
it's 5 rounds. It's pretty accurate.
it's pretty accurate. I would say like Hearn Rimovic's 99.5 kind of makes sense to me. So
I
because of
mean,
the
I
5
like it.
rounds.
I like Dern so much that I think it's a great play at 97.5 because you got 5 rounds to work with.
Should we take? We got to take Oral by whatever, but we got to take him. So do we want to do? Of course, they won't give takedowns here.
Control time. Control time.
Time.
That's the way to dice it up.
No, this is time on the. Oh,
right. No. It's there.
It's there.
God, that's so in play. That's such a great number. I think we might have our first ever over 3.5 control time because you know what? Wells is durable. And the sweatier they are, the better it is for that number.
Okay. 3.5 it is. Let's
Themba controlled him for 5.5 minutes, and then Wells controlled Themba for 6 minutes. Carlston Harris probably controlled him. No, nope, not a bit.
Nah. What about so we got Rimovic, significant strikes, more Dern, or I'm sorry, less Dern, fantasy points, more Oral by, control time, more.
Dude, how are we not trying to fade Abdul Malik? It's concerning.
Do you want to go under?
It fits your mold of taking the unders on these 100 points. It's up to you. I'm going to let it be in your court because this is your type of play.
I can't take Islam and Oral by unders. So if we're going to take one, it's got to be him.
What are we thinking, though? So we're thinking like a second round finish is going to get us there or outside of a minute, clearly.
Right, exactly. And we get lucky and it's outside that range.
Did we both really like Ramiz? Or I mean, the problem is we know how live Magny is.
Yeah, that's definitely the issue here. Do we have takedown line? No.
It's a tough slate because there's only 12 to fight, pick from. So
I know.
Any Fernando or Tobias stuff?
Yeah. Do you want to go Fernando over on fantasy points?
I do.
Or by knockout? We could do.
Well, are you kidding me? His first round equity is pretty damn good on this entire slate. His inside the distance line for Fernando is alone minus 105. First round plus 250 on DraftKings. So, that's pretty much saying that
I wish they'd give us our submissions. Where'd submissions go? We hit them that one time with the submission, and we haven't seen it since. Come on, Pick Six. Put those submissions back up here.
It was a big number. Patty's was not a small number, dude.
No, it was not. Do you see any other knockouts you like? Tobias over on takedowns. Imagine if we did takedown. What's his line?
It's not going to be a great number, right?
They don't even have them for takedown. So, here's your Edson takedown.
And is it 3? It's 3-1 on the sports book, so I'd have to get that number. You know what I mean?
No, it's just
not good enough.
Yeah, no, it's not.
If it were up there, I think it would be cool. But it's funny.
Rimovic wins by KO. That's how he wins.
Yeah, and what is that prop alone is a standalone minus 175. What's the number on that? You're getting a nickel on that.
Do you want to take the nickel or do you want to take somebody else?
I don't want to take that. Is there anything? Did we even get a Chapeline type of play in there or any of that fight?
Chapeline.
The problem is they're gonna like his. Yeah, they're gonna be like flip a coin on the.
No, I mean
we can't. I mean, I would personally look at Charles Johnson over on the fantasy points. That's
that's terrifying.
It's terrifying, but that's just where my brain goes. Because UFC stats knows that he's fucking 50 to 60% owned.
We can't do sub.
And they go click.
We can't do sub. It's not on here. And
then knockouts are pretty juiced, which is tricky.
Yeah, they are juiced.
can we play for like Angelo saying, can we play our significant strikes over and then under on the underdog type of situation or no?
So whose significant strikes do you like? Right now we've got
play for
Esteban
Phoenix.
Rimovic's under. We
You
can't.
know how we like to stack things. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to get at. Is there any way that we can try to figure that out? They're gonna give any unders or something for or
let's go
over
back
on
to
the main event?
significant strikes here.
Like stacking the main event overs might be a play. Where the hell's like stacking the 53.5 and 40.5? I actually think that's a really nice play. It correlates to the over.
Islam and Gary.
Yes. Would you agree with that? Because you're taking both overs there. It correlates together.
Yeah, but we only need one pick left.
Fuck you. Well, let me back it up. Minus 150 DraftKings Sportsbook. Fight goes to a decision. MAKHACHEV, Gary. That correlates with the over. If we're not playing that based on our merit and the way that we play our pick sixes, we're doing something wrong.
Dustin Stoltzfus significant strikes is 18.5. So
what do we pull out if you want to pull something out? We love the Ribovich because we think there's the finish. The out of grappling. Dern, we like her as a play, period. I guess it would be the control time, right? That we'd be pulling out. And that's just due to the fact that Orlby could finish him early or at some point within those control time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it could
I'm
be
just
that.
trying to pick out which one. I mean,
we can take out the Abdul Malik less than if you want. We could take that one out if you really want the MAKHACHEV over and the Gary over.
It just correlates well. I don't think you like what I'm saying, but
not really. But this is a show, and we got to get your takes and my takes together. So we're not going to agree on everything. That's okay.
I think it's a stretch on MAKHACHEV because sometimes he doesn't, but he's probably going to be forced into striking affairs. He's not going to be like
Michael said Abdul Malik under 28.5. Yeah, I mean I think that's in play too for sure. I could see actually he could do it quick, or it could take a while and he's still not get over 28.5. So it's possible.
Well, I don't want to just jam something to jam something.
Yeah, so bring the noise like Gary. I think if you like Gary overs, then you gotta kind of like Islam overs because I think you gotta think it's a standing like I give you one, you give me one, like back and forth kind of thing. Because you know how they like to fight, right? It's like one at a time or like 1, 2. Like Ian Gary is going to like stick and move. He's gonna be switching stances. He's gonna be circling. Islam's gonna be trying to like pin him down, throw the kicks, right, to stop the circling. So we are going to get a lot of
There's more strikes in this fight than other molds. Like, look at some of these other fights that Islam's had. Jack Della, I'm not counting the Moicano. I'm probably not counting
the way we lose this is if Islam can get him down and just keep him there, pretty much.
And he's only at 3.5 takedowns, which normally, it would be even crazier of a line. So I do like the correlation there.
Let's keep this. So this is our pick 6 here for the show. Rimovic's 55.5 significant strikes, less than Dern, 97.5 fantasy points, more than Orlby, more than 3.5 minutes of control time. Fernando by KO, or more than 0.5 KO. Islam MAKHACHEV, more than 53.5 significant strikes. And Ian Machado Gary, more than 40.5 significant strikes. We've got a boost over on pick 6 over on DraftKings here. What can I?
Unfortunately, there's no way to take the under on Tobias strikes on pick 6 coffee.
No, we can't. I looked. Tobias significant strikes is 28.5. I wish.
Hey, a 25-1 basically on a Saturday night, $50. Pretty nice. Too.
Okay, so there we go. So 24.8. Is that what it is? Is that what it came out?
Just under 25.
All right. So $50. There we go to win $12.40. We're putting it in.
You're going to say, Mike, what is your best bets? Best bets for me right away. I do like, man, I just like the number on Mackenzie Dern finish, period, inside the distance. DraftKings Sportsbook has the best number out there, plus 200. It's kind of funny. I hate giving out such big plus money, but that one is like hard to avoid that it's plus 200 in 50 cents of value.
I love that you gave out a plus money winner. This makes me feel great about what we're doing here.
I have to. It's 50 cents of value, and it's one of the better plays for the price out there. Plus money, maybe not plus money. You could do start the night out with the hat parlay. Ramiz Brahimaj, oral buy. It's only like minus 115 at this stage, but that's definitely a play. I guess if you really wanted to get juicy, you could do oral buy minus 3.5 with that Brahimaj, which gets it to plus like 115, which is very much in play. I'll probably be having that. Just again, look at the live market. If things are going the wrong way against Brahimaj after that first round, do not be scared to hedge out of that one. What were some of these crazy props? Oh, Barbosa takedown. I'm the only person in America that's going to give that prop, I assume. Plus 300 is a direct path. It's more of a Ribovich can't stop the takedowns than it is actually game plan. Barbosa, I think, will get gassed if he goes for takedowns, which is kind of silly to say, but plus 300 is too good for me to avoid. I'm not taking the ladder. Just give me one takedown there. You and I both like Turner. I guess the concern is all this money movement against him. He's not going to be a crucial play to my entire slate. He will be on my card at some point. I'm just going to hope he maybe gets to plus 100, right? Like, I'm not greedy. At minus 112 at the moment on DraftKings is a good price. It's just, what are we signing up for in that fight, right? Like, is it a trap or not?
Might be a trap, but, it is what it is. All right. So you give out a few of your best bets. I'm going to go Lucas Fernando by KO at plus 110. Mackenzie Dern by finish. I love that one too. So I'm with you there. And then one more I'll give. Oh, man, I don't want to go there, but we'll do it. We'll just go oral buy. I do think he gets it done by sub, so we'll go with oral buy by sub.
You know what I thought about for you would have been your favorite type of play would have been Tobias takedowns in a same game parlay. I
thought about it.
Fernando knockout.
Did you hear when I said I don't want to do that? That was what I was thinking about. Was like, do I take the sub on that and then I already called the Fernando. I'm not going to do that though. Oh. That is in play though.
Okay.
I do think if Tobias is smart, he goes in for a takedown pretty quickly.
What did I say earlier? I'm trying to remember on MACHADO. The best number out there is him inside the distance, plus 550. You're buying into the Dante Johnson fade. I think I was saying earlier the second or third round for MACHADO was way out of whack. What was the 16-1 I was saying earlier? Fuck. And I said I want to take a stab. Oh, it was Magny
third round.
Magny third round. Yeah. Which is funny because I like Brahimaj a lot, but it's a price play. 16-1 on that is the best on market. It's about 6 points above everywhere else on DraftKings Sportsbook, where we all love to play.
Yeah, AFC Angelo, last question says, is there any way Gary takes down Islam? I'm going to say no fucking chance. Does he even try?
I wish I could stand up and do the thing when he's like against the cage with his ass out. Like that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. I just don't see a world where he's like actually going for a takedown. Like maybe Islam's like not hitting. No, I just, that would be really, really silly, I think, of him.
I'm trying to think of who could get a takedown on this slate that wouldn't be the grappler side of things. It's not Magny, not Fernando. It's MACHADO. MACHADO, third round. Dante's so tired, he just hip tosses him down.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm being a little sarcastic, but yeah, no, I mean, the UFC, we have like 18 straight weeks of fights. It's fucking awesome, man.
It's great. Make sure you guys check out runpuresports.com. Hit the like button on the video on your way out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be back tomorrow for more of my high stakes best ball stream here, probably around 12 Eastern. Mike, appreciate you hanging out, talking some fights. Good luck to everyone in their DFS and betting over on DraftKings. Use code Forever25 for 25% off for life over at Run Pure Sports. Any package on the board, you can use that, whether it's Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, for Buddha, I'm JSU. We're out of here. Peace.